Hi, I'm Stefan from Faboba. In this video, I will briefly explain how to use Falang to translate a WordPress site. The theme used for this demonstration is the Astra theme in Elementor version. For pages made with the Elementor Builder, I will use the additional plugin Falang for Elementor in the Lite version. The points covered by this tutorial will be the addition of an additional language, French, the addition of a language selector in the menu, and translating this menu. We will translate a Hello World post, which is made with the classic editor. After that, translate the home page and the about page, which are made with Elementor. I will terminate by translating two strings from the template, the phone and the footer. Let's go! Here is a WordPress site that we are going to translate. We have 4 pages: Home, About, Service, and Contact. At the dashboard, I can see that the Falang plugin is already installed. I also have the Falang for Elementor plugin, Lite version installed, which works in tandem with Falang multilanguage for WordPress. At the Falang entry, I will go and see which language are installed. At the moment, I only have English, so I will add French. I'm adding new language. Here, I tap FR. I will be able to select French here, FR_FR. I have the full name displayed, the locale, and the slug. The slug will be displayed in the URL here. I will select a flag, in this case the French flag, and I add the language. The language is added here. We can see that the default language is English. I will change this default language here. If my site was built with another language, so far so good. To be able to add our menu, I will go to Appearance Menu. Here, I don't see the language switcher. I just have to select it to display it. Here it is. Now it shows. Here, I add it to the menu. It shows at the bottom of the menu list, and I will be able to configure it. Generally, I prefer to put flag display only. I find it looks better. I save it and I put it after the contact entry. I see if it's registered. It is. So now I go back to Home and I refresh the page. Now I see the 2 flags. We can see here 2 flags because they correspond to the settings that I put in the language switcher. Here I did not ask to not display the default language. Usually, both flags show, but indeed, here we can choose to hide the default language. We save the menu, we will deactivate the default menu language. Once it saves, we go back, refresh, and now it only shows the French flag, because here I am by default in English. We will now translate the different menu items: Home, About, Department, and Contact. For this, I go back to the dashboard. I go to Falang, Translate Menu. It shows the different menu items. I have Home, About, Contact, and Service. So I will translate Home. When I click Edit, I can see it. I will translate it here. For Home, we will use Accueil. Remember to publish the element. I save it, return to Home. And I'm going to switch to French, as we will see right away. Here we have Home, which has been translated into Accueil. I do the same for the other entries. So About will be called Apropos. Remember to publish it. We are not going to translate Contact and Service. However, it still exists in the backend, but refreshing the page, we can see that it is no longer shown on the front. I will republish the translation of About, so I edit it, I republish it, and I save it. And I have About here, which is going to be changed to Apropos. Now I go back to the backend, and I will now translate a post. There is only one post on this site named Hello World. We can see here that there is a French flag with a small empty circle to show that there is no translation published. I will enter in edit mode for this post. I click the post opens. Here I can translate the title, the slug and the content. You can copy like this. If we had configured a translation services in Falang, we could have used it. We will show other icons here. I will type Bonjour tout le monde. I will copy this, paste it here for the slug. Here I just change the start of the post to Bonjour WordPress. You need to remember to publish it here. I close it, then refresh. After saving it, I'm back on the list of posts. I see that I have the post Hello World, which is a post, translate and published. I return to the page where it shows all posts. Refresh the page, and I see that I have my Hello World post with the translation published. I close this tab. I just translate a post in the normal way to translate posts, or if I need, any WooCommerce product in the same way. We have seen how to translate a post. We are now going to see how to translate a page. If I go to page, it's a bit different. We see that there are pages made with Elementor, so there is no quick translation link. So we cannot translate them in the same way. That's why there is an additional plugin. If I go to Home and Edit with Elementor, I see an Elementor page that opens, which is Home. Just waiting for it to appear. Here it is. One of the differences is that we will be able to translate the element in each widget. Here, when I click on We All Love, we can see the title. And here, thanks to Falang for Elementor, we have access to another title with a small French flag in case there are more languages. We will have here different elements with a corresponding flag to know in which language we are translating. I will translate the We All Love to On aime tous. I will publish it. Here, it is published. I go to see on the front end to see how it looks. I do a refresh. I'm still in French. I will be able to see that We All Love was translated with the same typography. If I change the color at Elementor level, it will show in the translation as well. I go back to English, I write it in English. I go back to French, I go back to this page here, and here in the same way. We can translate element by element. The button is done exactly in the same way. We have the button when we are on the button FR. We will type Commençons with a link HAN for English, HFR2 for French. The different elements supported by Falang for Elementor Lite allow you to translate a few widgets. I save it. You can do the same for the other elements on the page with our services, with either heading. I also have here a title. I type no service, I save it. I'm waiting for it to finish saving. I go back to Home in French, refresh. We have On aime tous, Commençons, nos services. Here, I can see by putting my mouse here that I have a HFR2 in the link. Back to our Elementor page. So one of the limitations of the Lite version of Falang for Elementor is that not all elements are translatable. For example, this one, which is an image box, you can't translate it with Falang for Elementor Lite. You have to switch to Falang for Elementor Pro. But it will be done in exactly the same way. Here we'll have an image box with FR where we could translate each element independently of each other. I have translated my home page. Now I have to do the same with the About page. So I go back to WordPress and to Page. It's done exactly in the same way. I edit with Elementor, the page is displayed, and I can translate element by element. About here will be called Apropos. I save it, return to Home, I refresh the page, I click on About. Okay, here we have About, which is translated into Apropos. A small subtlety here, the slug is always shown as AN About. Let's see how to change it to FR Apropos. To do this, I return to the WordPress dashboard, and the change needs to be done through Falang Translate Post. Here, I can filter the result. There aren't that many, but let's filter by page. Here, so it was the about, in, apropos. Here, I see that I have no translation. I click Edit. You can see that I have title, slug, and content. It turns out that for Elementor page, you don't have to translate the content. So in a future version, the content will be hidden for translation. For now, we just have to put apropos. At the level of the slug, I put apropos, I publish it, save it, I go back to the home page, to French, and now, when I go back to the apropos, I can see that the slug has been changed. Falang supports the translation of strings and will read WP email configuration. We can see here that the Astra theme has been loaded. And we are therefore easily translate the string. The 202 we are going to modify, we are going to type 211. And I will add FR behind, I save it, I go back to the home page, refresh. I have here 211 FR, which is displayed. It will be exactly the same for the Love Nature by Tyler Moore. If I come back here and look for the string, here it is. Here I put J'aime la nature par Tyler Moore. I save it, refresh. Here you can see the translation, which is done instantly. I return to the home. We have just seen how to translate a WordPress site based on Astra using Falang and Falang for Elementor Lite. In the next video, we will elaborate each point in a little more details. See you soon!